and put my screen up there, don't I?
Good Friday. You don't need to put your screen up at all. I've got the screen up right now, and we've got our Friday live QuickBooks live training and session. Hi, I'm Rachel. I'm managing partner of SOP Solutions. Thanks for watching our fourth live session. SOP's core service is a business health assessment. A component of what we do is keeping businesses healthy. Having QuickBooks maintained is a vital part of a healthy organization. Today, my business partner, Terry, will be overviewing what we've done today, but more importantly, we're going to talk about reconciliation, duplicate entries, unreconciling entries, deleting real duplicates, identifying prior year unreconciled transaction. Don't touch, but do tell. You're probably going to hear that a couple times. Printing and providing financials. So we've got one person viewing here. I'm going to do my best to watch these comments. So when they come up, we can put them up on the screen. But I do feel like we're going to have a pretty, a lot of content today. So I will do our best to keep us moving along, Terry. And if you want to have your screen, we can, whenever you're ready to take over on your screen, you can.
I will. Hey, Rachel.
Yeah.
There's a person that has texted. There's a person that texted me and is trying to get in. I'm going to forward you this message. And if you could help them. Let's see. Add recipient. And I'm going to send this to Rachel right now. Done. And it just says, please help. We're looking for a link. And so I'm thinking this is probably, so it's a message to both of you guys. And if you could reach out and just figure out who that is and,
Sure.
and if you could help them come in. I'm going to share the screen. And let me say share screen. I'm going to share my big screen when it allows me. And there's my big screen. Nope, that's not my big screen. There's my big screen. It just says Google. All right. We'll take it off of Google. We don't need to do Google. As Rachel said, we're going to do a wrap up. And the wrap up will go fairly fast to go through lots of different areas that we've touched on. Maybe a couple of things that are kind of new that we haven't touched on, but they're important. And I'm going to get my screen. Let's just start with the dashboard. So Rachel will do a recap when we're done with this session or at the end of this session to go through in more detail the highlights of what we covered in the 4 days. So this being our fourth day, I said I'd start with a wrap up. Quickly, we went to accounts and settings.
I didn't see a text come through, Terry.
You didn't?
I did not.
All right, let's see.
I mean, I can.
Sorry about that. It says, please help, and it has 40950. Can I give you the number?
I guess I'll text them. Let's see how I do that. Okay. Probably not on a live video. I don't think that's a good idea. Let me just send you the link, Terry, and you can respond to them.
But I can't. I sent you the. I can't multitask like that. Can you get them the link and the thanks? Apology. Kind of a technical error.
Well, there's no one watching right now. We can even start over and keep going. It's like on 0.
I thought you said there was somebody that had logged in.
Nope, they left.
They left. Okay. Did we get the link to the person that just tried to come in?
What are you? I don't understand what you mean. The link to the person? No, it's live on YouTube, so they would just have to.
So the person that has reached out to me that's trying to come in is a 409 number.
I don't have that.
Person got a link. That person got a link that I sent them a couple of days ago. So they were here yesterday, and they're saying that the links between the 3 links that I've sent to them, they're not working. Can you take this text message and send them?
Send it to me. I don't have the text messages.
Did it come through to you?
Yes, it did not come through.
Okay, I don't know why, because I sent it to both of you. Converted to multi, okay. So how do I get a link to today's link?
Well, it's on your text messages right now. It's
Yeah.
on YouTube. The link, I could switch and share screen, and I could show the link on YouTube right now. I could copy and paste it.
I'm going to guess that they can't see YouTube because that's why they're trying to get in. So I just sent it to them.
And we can start fresh from here too. And then we've got two. So it looks like there's two people watching now.
Is there any way to identify who's watching?
I haven't been able to figure that out yet, but we will eventually.
Okay. I'm hoping one of them is the 409 number.
Oh, Heather's watching. Haha, this is the link.
So we have Heather. If the other participants, the person that was texting and trying to get in, if they'll just confirm that they're in, I will jump at this.
We're learning. Here we go. So we have two people. Oh, Samantha's in. Hi, Samantha. Thanks for joining.
Samantha, are you our 409 number? Rachel, if she responds, I'm going to need you to look because I don't know how to understand.
Sure. Yeah.
All right. Okay, someone said they just got in. Perfect. I got it on the text message. All right. Hi, guys. We're going to kind of start all over here. Rachel did an introduction, and Rachel will actually close this and do a review of what we've covered the last 3 days and then today. And today we're May 1st. We're going to do a real fast, and it's going to go quite fast, wrap up of the QuickBooks pieces. Some of it's new, and I'll highlight and say this is new. And then after the wrap up, we'll jump into reconciling, how to do duplicate entries, how to find them, how to get rid of them, how to make them right. Identifying prior year unreconciled transactions that you won't change, you will only identify them. And then printing and providing financials. So we bounce over here. We're in QuickBooks. There's our dashboard. I don't know why it wants to say sales and overview, but there's our dashboard. In the top right corner is our gear. Under our gear, your company are your settings, manage users, custom forms or creating invoices, and sales orders if you have sales orders. Those tend to be a little difficult. The chart of accounts. That's one way to get to the chart of accounts. QuickBooks Labs, they have some really good features in Labs that they highlight the different pieces. You can go through just about every area of QuickBooks through a lab. And we'll do something similar with our training to make it little sound bites and less comprehensive. Lists, all lists. If you have locations, if you have classes, if you have inventory, if you have products, if you do services and you do invoices, everything is under a list. Tools, import. You can import data. Be very cautious, and I'm happy to help you if you want to do that. You can export data. If you want to export your QuickBooks, you can export your QuickBooks. You can export different data sets from QuickBooks. Reconcile. We're going to see a couple of different ways to get to the reconcile function, but it is under here. The budgeting, I hope it works. It hasn't ever necessarily burned me. It just didn't work well enough for me to use the tool for budgeting. And they've come quite far with lots of different areas, so it might work better now. The audit log is going to it's a report that's also under reports that goes through the different people that have signed into your system and the functions that they have done. Adding transactions. It did not used to keep track of deleted transactions very well, but I think they've expanded that. Ordering checks. If you're going to print checks from your QuickBooks system, go ahead, bite the bullet, and get the more expensive check that they send you. The smart look. I haven't researched that. I don't think that's on everybody's system. That's a new feature. Case Center is nothing more than management. Profiles. You have an Intuit account, and it's to be cautious and aware of, definitely aware of. If you use TurboTax or other QuickBooks Intuit software packages, they kind of put you into a global account. And so if you did TurboTax under a different sign-in, it's your personal sign-in and your personal email as opposed to your business email, your system might be remembering that. Just be aware when you go to log into an Intuit software that you're using the right one. That could cause you not to recognize a file. Feedback, you tell them what you think, refer a friend, they'll give you a little bit of a credit. Privacy, just as their disclosure. Switch company. If you had multiple companies, you could have switch company. All right. New. I'm on the banner. I'm on the left menu bar, the border. I went new. New customers. Okay, customers. I can do a new invoice from here. I can receive a payment from here. I could do an estimate. Estimate goes into the sales forms that we really didn't cover at all. If I have invoices and I need to clear my invoice out, I should not do receive payment and then try to make it zero. That'll cause issues. I can do a credit memo to offset it. We really didn't explore invoicing. I'm just kind of glossing over it. Refund receipt, never used. Delayed credit, delayed charge. Those are, they kind of put it into buckets that you can access them later. It's supposed to adjust your balance sheet as opposed to adjusting your profit and loss. And those are bigger items. There's probably different ways that you might want to do the same function. Vendors. We can create expenses. Expenses go directly to the register. An expense is, I see this in the bank and it goes into my bank register. Check. The check is, I wrote a check. It's in my register. Bill. A bill creates an entry like an invoice. The invoice is your customer invoice that hasn't been paid. It's just sitting out there. It's going to report on your accounts receivable. The bill is your accounts payable. I received the bill for my T-Mobile bill for my cell phone. I have not paid it yet. I put the bill in there. It says it's $1,700. It's not, but it's close. It's can add up fast on your monthly service. So that T-Mobile bill sits out there and it says it's $1,700. It stays there when the bank register, when my banking transactions are imported, and it says, I have this T-Mobile, it looks kind of like what you have for your bill, but it's $1,700. Is this the same one? And when it sees it, it says yes, and you can select match. If you go the step further and you have your bill for the T-Mobile and it's $1,700, and you go to your next function and you say pay the bill because you knew it already came out of your bank account. That's $1,700 that's not sitting in your bank account. It hasn't cleared the bank, but you need to show it cleared in your register so that your register balance actually reflects what has what has come through the bank, but also any pending checks, any pending payments that you know are coming through, so that you have an accurate balance in your check register of QuickBooks. I'm going to pay my bill for $1,700. I'm going to say that it's happening today on May 1st. It has not cleared the bank. When I said pay bill, it came out of my accounts payable. I had the bill. Now I took it out of accounts payable. Now I'm going to pay the bill. That's how I took it out of accounts payable. When that transaction comes through on May 3rd, on Monday, it knows it's already in the register and it says match.
Are you showing us that on the screen right now?
I only highlighted so
I'm not, what I'm seeing right now, I wasn't seeing that. I don't know, were you going through that match scenario, or are you verbally describing?
I'm verbally describing.
Oh, okay. Just to make sure we weren't supposed to be looking at that match feature.
Let me finish these other pieces and then I'll come back to bill, because it warrants, and the invoice. I'm going to highlight those in more detail. Let me go through the pieces. I kind of got delayed there. So the purchase order, if you're using purchase orders, please feel free to reach out and I can help you with making the system work correctly. The vendor credit's going to work the same as the credit memo. It's going to go and offset a bill that's out there. The credit card credit, that's when you actually have a transaction that it was refunded from Office Max because you bought something and it came back and you returned it. You don't really have to use it from this area. It is a screen that would come up to represent that transaction, and we can talk about that. Printing checks is just globally, you put a bunch of checks into the system, you're going to pay a bunch of bills, and you can print them collectively. Employees and payroll, if you're doing QuickBooks payroll, we can help you with it, but it is a different area. Single time activity, and then the weekly timesheet. Even without payroll, it lets you track your time. If you're a service-oriented business, you can track your time and pull it together and then pull these items into an invoice. Bank deposit we're going to do here quickly. Transfer, we never transfer. Don't even worry about it. We never transfer. Journal entries, we kind of touched on yesterday, and we'll possibly look at those. The statement's going to be for your clients to send statements out to them. It's pretty sophisticated. There's an email that goes with it. You want to be cautious of the auto settings that QuickBooks has. Inventory quantity adjustment, if you're using inventory, it does get, it gets more sophisticated with using the system. And I don't even know what pay down credit card is. That's a new one on me. I kind of went off on a tangent on the bill. Let me show you the bill. If you don't know, this top corner, I'm in the left top corner. That has a clock. That's going to pull down to my recent transactions.
That's a very, very helpful. Yes, I go to that a lot.
And in saying that you go to it a lot, we happen to have a bill pulled up. It's in invoices. It's in deposits. It's in lots of the transactions that you'll do and modules you'll go to. Almost all of them have that clock at the top. I see the last three, and I can say view more, and it would put up in my screen a whole list of them. So I'm going to go to this bill right here. And on this bill, and I apologize for my screen. I don't know what this is. There we go. It went away. All right. So I have a bill here, and this is from 12/31/18. I'm actually going to make a payment, okay? I put this bill in here because I needed to pay it.
And let's go back again. Why would you have put that bill in there? Why would it be there in the first place?
Okay, so this bill, and ignore the date because the date's playing off something else.
Sure.
So this bill came into me, and it's on 12/31. It's due by January 15th.
Mm-hmm.
And bear with me just a second. Let me get another QuickBooks open.
And that's another helpful thing to always have a couple of windows open so you can toggle back and forth. Well, at least one or two.
Absolutely.
At least one or two QuickBooks, I'm going to have all kinds of windows open, but
For the
having
record, yeah, and where she says multiples, I often have like 6 or 7. So I don't have many bills in here. I have a couple, but this is my advantage to my bill. These bills are sitting in my AP aging. I owe $1,000, or at this time I owed $1,000. As I collect my bills, my $1,700 bill for my T-Mobile, I would have had in here. And so saying that it's $1,700, I owe $2,700. How do I want? What can I pay with the monies and resources I have? This is my accounts payable. If I do this again, this is a good exercise. I'm glad you asked this question. And this falls in line with our review because we kind of touched on invoices and the like. And a big one that we touched on was accrual or cash. Okay. So I have $7,900 outstanding, and I know I owe $2,700, but remember I didn't put in that bill for the T-Mobile yet. One more. I will get all 7 of my windows open and show you.
This is just going to make people
just super quick.
Do this for them, Terry. You have to have.
Oh, but this is what I do. I love it. I love it. So here, I'm gonna go to 01, 01, 19, 123, 119. All right. So here, I have a profit and loss. I have $27,000 profit at the end of my day. I'm looking at cash. That's money that went into the bank and money that came out. That's what a cash basis profit and loss is. If I look at this on accrual, I have 37,000. This is what my business is doing, because on accrual, I can see what I have billed. I've billed to my clients. I have $5,600 outstanding. I can see through my payable, I still need to pay $1,000. In my profit and loss on an accrual basis tells me how healthy or what I should anticipate. Have I really worked, billed? Hey, Rachel, on your screen it says paying a bill, and that banner is way too large for them to see bottom line. That's okay.
Paying a bill. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Hide it.
So I just lifted the screen. So see, on accrual, I have 37,000 for the same time period. That's my profit for the same time period. If I was looking at my cash in the bank, I have 27,000. I need to go. Part of my duty and part of my responsibility to know how well my company is doing, I need to make sure my accounts payable stays correct. And I need to make sure my accounts receivable, the money I'm going to get, stays correct. If I have an invoice outstanding for $6,000 and I'm not going to collect it, but it's in my accounts receivable, and I look at it in my profit and loss on the accrual basis, I'm doing an injustice to myself. That's $6,000, and I'm saying, hey, you know what? I am pretty healthy. The company's doing pretty well. If that 6,000 isn't going to come in, you should probably take it out and get rid of it.
Or maybe not put bills in there at all.
The bills will tell you when you put your invoices in and you just put invoices and you don't put bills, you will think and feel you're doing better than you are. Because if you have outstanding $7,000 to that 6,000 you're going to collect, you're actually at a negative.
Yeah.
If you don't manage your bills physically, you can manage them physically. But if you want your accounting system to accurately reflect what you have coming in and going out, you would do accrual. It does mean there are more pieces to manage. I'm not saying that it doesn't. If
But
you 100% go from your bank account and you keep your banking, you keep this cleared. I'm in the banking module over here. If I keep my banking module cleared, I have a really good handle that my bank balance is going to match my QuickBooks balance.
yeah, yeah,
And this $40,000 discrepancy is so common. It's
yeah,
$37,000 discrepancy
yeah,
because people, just in general, they have a lot of transactions outstanding, but even when they don't have the transactions outstanding, they haven't accounted for everything. It is a significant problem. So real quickly, let me come over here and let me go to this bill. Oh, you know what? Let me. Um, I'm going to do a bill really quickly that you guys can see just real. Let's see. I think I had. Oh, I don't have McDonald's in here yet. What the heck? 010119, and we're gonna keep it RE, and it's going to be meals. Um, my QuickBooks, because I have so many windows open, will give me an issue sometimes. All right, I'm going to save this. I have this bill in here. What don't you like? You must select a vendor. Oh, isn't that interesting? I did know that. I have to select a vendor. And right now I have my system set up to say, yes, pre-fill the information from the last time I did this transaction. The last time I did this transaction, it would have been a different amount. Be very cautious. The last time I did this transaction, if it had 17 lines to my bill, I might want to pre-fill it and then just change the amounts. As you work with your system, it'll make more sense. So now I'm going to say make a payment, and I'm going to say I have these bills out here. I have two bills for TRB SOP. Which bill do I want to pay? I'm going to pay this 2162, and the date is going to be 010119. That's fine. And I'm going to save it. If I had selected both of them because I want to pay this vendor everything, I don't know that you caught it, but on the right-hand side, it had the other bills. So I can see everything that's due to this person. If I have a contractor and they give me different invoices for different work, if I put a bill in here for each time that contractor gives me a bill that I need to pay, if I'm managing it through here, I have it on my accounts payable list so I can see how much money I owe that contractor.
mm-hmm.
B, I can make one single payment. When I make the one single payment, then when I make one single payment, then it's going to come through and it has the potential to match what's in my check register. I cleared my bill out. In fact, I cleared two bills out. All right. Let's see. Right here, I have a negative 2250 because that 2250 is a deposit I don't have an invoice for. If I don't have an invoice for this client, I don't want to use that one, I'll use this one. I don't have an invoice for this client. I don't want to, Rachel, this isn't paying a bill. This is actually making a deposit. There we go. I don't have an invoice for this client. I don't need to make an invoice for the client. I have already received this money. I do not need to make an invoice. When the deposit comes in, it came into my bank. There's my bank account. It came into the bank. It came in on this date. This is for the business BS because I have multiple businesses. There's my client's name, BS Services. This will post this to the bank directly. It will post it to the client directly. I do not need to make an invoice. I don't want to make an invoice. I just received the money. Save and close. It's going to go out and be a bank deposit. If I deposit it as one lump sum, it will match. I want to show something else. So see where I have this tenant? All of these tenants have paid this money. I need to receive money from all of these tenants. So I'm going to receive, I say receive payment. I'm going to put this into, where's my undeposited funds? If you have multiple, if you have multiple deposits, if you have multiple deposits, and let me qualify multiple deposits. If you have multiple checks that are separate and they go under one bank deposit, there's a very not unique, but there is a process you have to do. I'm going to receive money from tenant one, and tenant one is going to pay me $2,000. Okay, I pulled that out. I got a check for $2,000. Okay, I have tenant one paid 800, tenant one paid 800, and then tenant one paid 400. On the right hand side, my payments make up that $2,000. I put the $2,000 into undeposited funds. If you are not going to make a deposit and match the deposit, if I was making a deposit for $2,000, I could put it directly into the bank. I'm going to make a deposit for $3,600. When it comes through the bank, it's going to be $3,600. Think this is. I think the deposits in it's going to match a deposit that I have outstanding. Okay, I'm going to say save and close. I'm looking at checks. I'm going through a physical function of what I'm doing as part of what my job is. I received a check for $2,000 from. I received a check for $2,000 from a tenant. My total deposit is $3,600. Okay, so I posted 2,000. I'm going to receive a deposit. I'm going to post my check from this tenant for $1,000. And when I come in here, I'm going to make it 0710. I'm putting it to undeposited funds. It is for $1,000. I'm going to say save. And now I need to post my payment for $600. I had a total of $3,600, remember? So my $3,600 was $2,000 from tenant one, $1,000 from tenant two, and then $600 of the $800 that is, oh, I did that wrong. Sorry. I'm still in the invoice. I should not have done that. Do I want to leave without saving? Yes. So this $800, I'm pulling up the invoice. I'm going to say receive payment. And my receive payment, oh, he only owes 400. Well, he gave me 600. Well, shoot. I'm going to say save and close. All right. I haven't seen that one. I don't want to do that. I need to go new. I need to go to a bank deposit. I need to deposit I this just completely changed. This completely changed. I was kind of afraid about this.
It's not you, it's QuickBooks.
You know what? There you go, and it says it. Thank you.
We've had a couple of those things. And just being online like this and then streaming at the same time, it's the functionality of it. You know, QuickBooks Online has a lot of great features, but you know, it certainly has a lot of, I know there are people that prefer desktop because of this, just the online, the internet connection.
No. That has zero to do with my issue right here.
Ah,
My
you found
issue
the
right
issue. So
here.
it was you.
Well, it's a shared issue. So my shared issue is when I had to make the account, it didn't already have the undeposited funds. If you've worked with QuickBooks for any length of time at all, you have an undeposited funds and money ends up in there, and you may or may not know how the money ends up in the undeposited funds. The process, and I'll go back and see what the gap is. The process that I just did to take all three of those payments and to post them, and I said I'm posting them into undeposited funds. My goal was to have a deposit for $3,600. And I would have seen right here my undeposited funds, and it would have had my payment for 1,000, and my payment for my payment for 2,000 actually paid 3 invoices, if you remember. So my payment for 2,000 paid 3 invoices. I paid a payment for 1,000, and that was for 1 invoice, and then I paid a payment of 400, but I actually got a payment of 600. And I wanted to show you how to take that, which would have been listed here under my bank deposit. I don't know why it's not there, but under my bank deposit, it would have listed all of those. It would have listed all of those transactions, and I would have totaled the deposits that made up $3,600. When I totaled the deposits that made $3,600, when I came to my QuickBooks right here, I would have matched that $3,600 bank deposit that I did through the bank deposit module. It would say that it found the $3,600 and it would match. What happens is it's easy if I have $4,100 to do a transaction. It's not so easy to take 3 separate deposits in my bank register and say that the 3 separate deposits need to go to that $3,600. That is where duplicates happen. That is the basis of having multiple line items in your check register.
It is helpful, I feel, if deposits are put in separately. It makes it.
It does.
It makes
really
it a lot easier. So splitting them out and Intuit, when you're using the invoices, they come in separately. Even the fee comes in separately. So that's helpful. But when you go to the bank and you deposit multiple deposits that are tied to multiple invoices and expenses or well, just invoices, I find it more difficult and it causes a lot of duplicates.
I will use this as an example. So right here, I'm going to make a payment. I saw in my bank feed, if I look at my bank feed, if I get to my bank feed, see this deposit right here for the $4,147.41.72. All right, that's going to be the amount of money that was paid. I know because I saw that come through the bank. I know that that payment is for Mike Brown, and I'm going to go say receive payment for Mike Brown. It was 41.47.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, I know. I do this all day long. 72. 41.47.72.
Well, you can copy and paste, right? That always helps.
I probably could have. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at my screen, what happened is I have the 4147 and I have two invoices outstanding. So the first invoice is all the way back from May and it
Mm,
wasn't ever paid. So QuickBooks on its own, because remember, we're babysitting. When we were
yes.
babysitting, we need to see and make sure that this is correct. That 15A could have been paid and I just forgot to mark the payment. B might be in the wrong place. It might have a different client or a different mechanism that he was going to pay that part. And in fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the full 41, 47, 72 apply to my second invoice. I don't want to post this to the first invoice.
And that's
Right.
really, 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 really important.
Okay. So now it doesn't match the 4250 and it's not going to. I'm only going to collect 41, 47, 72 on this invoice because it's a credit card. It's a credit card payment. I'm not getting any more. I have several different things I could do. One of them, and I'm just going to go through this one way that I do it often. I'm going to take my 4250 and I'm going to subtract out 4172. No, I'm still 4147.72. And you can't see it because I'm doing it on my phone. So I'm going to open that invoice and it's going to say, hey, you're in the middle of a payment. I know, but let me fix it. I'm going to go open this invoice. I'm going to do a line item here and I'm going to take the credit card fee. I could create and do bank credit card fee right here. Credit card fee. And it will tell me what is it. I'm in the invoice. I'm setting up my credit card fee and my credit card fee. We see what it says income account. I just pulled this up. This is a service. I'm going to my service and I'm going to say, hey, that credit card fee needs to go to my bank fee. So in my invoice, I came down and created credit card fee. In my, when it pulled it up, because it doesn't have a service that says credit card fee, I created the credit card fee. I came down where it says income account and I actually I posting this to a expense account. It's okay, you can do this. Fee not to be collected. uh Merchant, whatever. When I do this piece right here, I sell this service to my client, that's okay for it to say that. So here, my rate, actually, I'm going to do my rate. My quantity is going to be, and it's reversible. You can put this either place. The point is 10228, and I have one of those. Now, I just updated my invoice. So now my invoice, which, all right, I'm taking 2 minutes to, no, not even in 2 minutes, real quickly. So this is a business health assessment with pivot pricing. This is our 7-day package with pivot pricing. This took 10 hours to fix all the stuff in the QuickBooks and all the other pieces and to do a cleanup. And then we have our piece that makes it ready to go to the EIDL, that makes it ready to go to a PPP, that makes it ready to go to whoever's going to do your tax return. So that's my sample invoice. I'm going to say save. I'm not going to close. I'm just going to save it. Yes, I do want to save it. I'm missing classes. It's okay. I can go back and figure out the class. I'm going to say receive payment. And I have my 41, 47, 72. I won't have an outstanding balance. I changed my invoice to reflect what the money is that came in from the money that came from the bank. I'm going to say save and close.
And I guess it doesn't matter that the client's going to get that because that invoice had the client email on it, right? So you just changed something.
If it did have the client invoice on it, it would. Yeah.
Say that again into the mic.
If it had the client invoice on it.
If it had
One more
the
time.
client, what?
If it had the client invoice number on it, it would. A client email. If it had the, I'm sorry,
Right,
if it had the
so
client email.
So nothing changed on the bottom line, just the distribution of how the invoice, you needed to go and add that bank feed in there because, or bank fee, because a net amount came through, right? And then so you add the bank fee and it still makes the invoice the same amount. So even if it did change, the client would get notification on the other end. So is that a bad thing that you updated their invoice? Well, only if it's wrong. So, right. So if you think anything could be wrong, take their email out of the invoice, right?
You know what? You might want to take the email out of the invoice for lots of different reasons. If
Yeah,
you go in and you want to classify something within an invoice and change the category, it's just the way the mechanism, you keyed it in, you said that it was Travis's work, but it's not really Travis's work, it's Trevor's work. They're twins. It's okay. They're interchangeable, but it might not be, and it makes a difference to your client to say, hey, what did you mess up on my invoice? It wasn't anything for the client to see that it was really messed up. It was just a change you wanted to make in how it was recorded. And so if you had at the top the email because you were sending it to your client, you could take it off and say you don't want it to go to the client. And
because
that's if you
users use the feature. They use the invoice payment feature.
Correct. So what I did when I received the payment, I wasn't paying attention. Remember, I had to babysit. I need this to go to, and I want this to go to my Chase business account. So I've changed that, and now I'm going to say save. I'll save and close, and yes, I do, and I know it's linked to other ones. So now when I come back to my banking, I need to refresh because every window you open, they're not tied together. It's a different stream into QuickBooks. So it doesn't know the information you have somewhere else. And so here, and we're about to jump right into reconciling. My apology that we got a little bit of a late start here. So here's my 4147. I'm going to say find the match, and it does. So what this is telling me is that there's my payment for this 4147.72 matches that payment. This came in, it was actually deposited, which it wouldn't have been, but it was deposited at the bank as the 4147. I wanted to go find that payment. This right here, this is the 3600 we would have updated. I'm going to do a whole banking deposit module again. So and we'll make sure that the undeposited funds works. Okay. We need to reconcile. I can go, I'm in banking. I'm in the banking module. I can say, take me to my register. This is my register. And I'm going to leave my register open, but at the top, it says reconcile. In the top left corner underneath, I guess, StreamYard, it says reconcile. So here, I could go banking register. I can go to accounting, and I can say, accounting, I need to reconcile. I could also go under the gear and say I need to reconcile. Okay. So my ending balance for January, give me just a second. I have the statement pulled up. My ending balance is 45, 48, 49, 45, 48.49. My date is 01/31/19. And I'm going to say start reconciling. Here we go. See where it says 0? Woohoo! Yay! All right. It did it for me.
That rarely happens.
I didn't do anything. See this green box? This green box means that this is a transaction that came from the bank. When it came from the bank, it had a beginning amount in my register, and it saw all these transactions and says, hey, from what you had at the beginning, because it was balanced before, to what you have right now, you're good. No problem. There is a problem. I have this payment for $271.62 that's not in here. So, but I know that cleared the bank. Where is this transaction and why isn't it down here? That one could not have cleared the bank. That's all I can tell you, because I'm at 0 and the bank transactions that came through all match. I have a problem with this transaction. I know that I do. The other piece that I have is right here for this 1221. I'm 1/8. Well, I know it cleared. But this 1221 says it's uncategorized. And then if I look, I have another 1221. I have 2 transactions for the same amount. This transaction was matched. See the green box? That transaction was matched, but it's wrong. Okay? I'm not saying that it's that QuickBooks didn't have it in, that I didn't match it from the bank, but it's the wrong transaction. I don't want it to match to that. I'm going to say void. I'm going to void this transaction. When I void this transaction, it's going to, and I have to, that's not the green button. When you void, it's the white button. When I void this, it's going to unmatch this transaction. The one that was in the system that said 1221 is now 0. I'm off by 1221. If I go back to my register, actually, I want to go back to banking. When I go back to banking, there's my 1221 transaction. Okay. I want to find the match because I actually want to match it to the one that it didn't match to originally. I went through that really quickly. I'm going to do it again. And I'm going to close the door. Sorry. Hold on just a second. Everybody got noisy out there. Okay. I'm going to do it again. Let me close this. Say without changing. I'm reconciling. I'm in my reconcile screen. In my reconcile screen, I had 2 of them for 1221. I opened the one that matched. The one that matched had the green box. When I opened it, I said, that's the wrong one. Let me void the wrong transaction. When I voided the wrong transaction, I went back to banking. And when I went back to banking, oh, wow, there it is. When I void a transaction that has been matched at the bank, when I void that transaction, it puts it back into the bank feed. If it was wrong and I don't want it here because I posted it somewhere else, and in this case right here, I actually would exclude it. And the reason I would exclude it is because I paid that same amount. And it's not that you were not paying attention. That amount actually shows up here in this payable because I grabbed part of that and I paid it in the payable. That payable actually represents another transaction for $250. I'm not expecting you to follow that, and I didn't identify it when we did it originally. When I do a breakout session, I will show how that happens. What I want you to understand and catch now is just that when I voided it, it put it back into this bank feed because I voided the one. Now, I'm going to say find match. And I wish I used a different name, but this one right here, and it does say a different name. This is the correct one. I'm going to match the correct one to the transaction. And when I go back to reconcile, so I went to banking because I had the banking open. It was in a different window and I fixed it. Now I'm back at reconcile. I need to hit F5 and refresh my screen. And when I refresh my screen, there it is. I went back to 0 because it lined up my transaction to the correct one. When I automatically accepted it, that's how it came through, and the brown and the green box was on that first one. And I will do a better job highlighting the differences here. So the first one that I just accepted, I wasn't babysitting, I didn't post it right. when I accepted it, it got it into my check register. Well, it's wrong. So now I needed to come back in and I needed to take out the wrong one and post it and link it to the correct one. Now it's in there correctly. But I'm still off. So here I have a payment of $2,250 from 12/7. Well, that's from 2017. This is from 2017. That is so wrong. That is such a problem. And then I have 5314, and 5314 can't be right because I'm at 0. And then I have this pesky 271.62. In a more advanced and with more time, I'll go through that better to show you that this 271.62 is actually a combination of different transactions that came in but got paid as 271.62. We'll do that in a billing session and whatever.
And bring a calculator.
Right. Right.
Those are the ones you're like, oh, I need to have a calculator. Yep,
So this first transaction, do not get rid of it. It says it's from 2017. Do not get rid of it. What happens is your tax preparer needs to see this as an outstanding item on your final reconciliation. They will get rid of it. You can't mark it cleared, even though you think it did back in 2017. You can even go look at it, and you should go look at it and see if it's on the register or not. It doesn't matter. It happened in a prior period. Your profit and loss that you generated and your balance sheet you generated, the profit and loss you generated and the balance sheet that you generated accounted for that 2250, whether it was correct or not. Your tax preparer needs to make that change. Do not clear out prior period transactions. I'm off because of this ending balance. What the heck? Well, when I set up my bank account, and it was brand new, so I went in and I said, oh, you know what? That $5,300, that's coming from me. I called it a draw. I could have called it an investment. That $5,300, because that's what my beginning balance was when I started it on January 1. I entered it as a transaction because I knew that was my beginning balance. I did it wrong. If we go over to our register, let's see, where's our register? We'll make this be our register. If I go, I'm in banking, I click go to register, and I want to look at, and these little boxes that come up, give them the time of day. I mean, they really do serve a function and a purpose, and it's good information. So in my register, see my 5,300, because I knew on 12/31, that was my beginning balance. When I imported the transactions from QuickBooks, look, not QuickBooks, when I imported the transactions from the bank into QuickBooks, there's my beginning balance. I got it in there twice. Well, I'd like to have had $12,000. I just didn't. So I need to delete the transaction I put in. The transaction I put in is the one that said ending balance, and I put it to my draw. I need to delete that transaction. That transaction is not valid. Do you see the R? I have an R over here on this transaction. It has an R because QuickBooks knows, hey, you might think you have X, Y, or Z, but we're going to tell you when we got it from the bank, this was your bank balance. And it says 5,300. Well, in my case, that 5,300, that 2250 that's outstanding, that's wrong. Okay. That really did clear. So I could change this amount of money to adjust for checks that are outstanding, that really are outstanding. If that 2250 is really outstanding, then I need to adjust for it. If that, and I'm going to collect it. This 271.62, if that truly is an outstanding balance, then I need to adjust for it. That gets really sophisticated. If this is the point that you're at, that you need to make your balance correct for the starting balance, reach out to me and I will help you get a good number here, not just the number that came in from the bank. I can walk you through the process of making this a right number, which is instrumental if you're going to reconcile your books. You have to have a great, perfected beginning number to start reconciling. I'm going to scroll through here. See this one right here? It doesn't have the box. It's because I cleared it myself. And as I go through, let's go ahead and we will say reconcile. I could say reconcile right there. We already have the reconciliation open. I'm going to save this because I went to 0. I do know that, let me refresh first though, because I did take out the 1. When I send this to my accountant, my whoever's going to do my taxes, when I send this to them, they're going to get the 2250 outstanding from 2017. They'll correct that for me. This 271.62, they might ask me about it, probably not because I'm in January. But and that 2250 would also still be outstanding on my reconciliation for last year. When they see that, then they know to make the corrections. And these boxes that I'm turning off, go ahead and turn them back. Not turn them back on, but when you see them, just give it a few minutes and kind of read what it says. It has some really great information. Why aren't some of these transactions marked as clear? It will take you and explain it in more comprehensive term. When I say finish now, all right, I can finish this. It's reconciled. It's done. I wanted to show you. I think I have. Let me sort my deposits. Yes. Okay. See here. So I have 2250. I have the 2250 in here. It came from the bank. It matched up. Okay. And in matching up, I tried to put some more examples in here. I don't have a lot of good examples, but in matching up this 2250 on March 24th, it came in fine. This could have a wrong date. That could be marked to an invoice. So I have 2250. It could be marked to an invoice, but I already matched the 2250 and I said it went to sales directly. Oh, hell. What? I don't even know which one's right. Breathe and kind of research it and bird dog it. If this said 032420, 032420, what that would mean is that the top one that went to BS Services probably should not have gone to BS Services. The bottom one, if it says it went to the accounts receivable and there was an invoice out there and I paid the invoice, I just collected 2250, but I put it in my system at least twice and maybe 3 times. I have it in my register at least twice. If this is the same transaction, on the bottom one, if I paid the invoice, and then on the top one, if I posted it directly to my chart of accounts, directly to my profit and loss, I just duplicated. I only collected 2250, but I just told the accounting system I collected 4500. That's how you get duplicate payments. One way you get duplicate payments. We were talking about the bill. So the bill, if I do a bill payment and I have a bill payment for, let me see, I think I have a duplicate payment in here somewhere. If I have a bill payment, that 2162 that we had, I already took care of, if it gets duplicated in my register, I'm looking at the register. If it comes in because I said, oh, I did pay T-Mobile $1,700, and I said, post that to the phone. Then I put a bill in there, and I had that 1,700, and I put it in my register because I said I paid 1,700. I only paid it once, but if I accepted it from the banking register as 1,700, I said yes, make that go to my phone bill, and I did not match it to the transaction that I said, hey, pay this bill for 1,700. If I did not match it, then I have it in there twice. I did not pay them 3,400. It feels like it. I didn't. I paid them 1,700, which was way too much. And not only that, I said in my bill pay them 1,700 even. When the transaction came through from the bank, it might have said 16.95 because they gave me a $5 discount because I said I'm not paying the late fee. It wasn't, and I'm not trying to portray me as owing T-Mobile any money. I just have a sore spot right here for them. That 16.95 is not going to match that 1,700. It can only match if it's one for one. If it comes in as 16.95, babysit it. Babysit, know that T-Mobile got 16.95 in your mind, in your reports, in your whatever. Know that you put it in for 1,700. Go change the 1,700 to make it 16.95 so they will match, so that you don't put a $1,700 phone bill in on top of a $1,695 phone bill that you haven't matched yet. You didn't pay $33.95 on it. You really did only pay it once. I've done a lot of talking and just like not even stopping. So I want to throw it out, make sure there aren't any questions. We started late, and I'm willing to stay late if anybody needs me.
Yes, I saw Samantha was here. Looks like we've got one on. Maybe Heather's still around. Reconciling is a is a beast, and definitely if what I have found is, Terry, you go in and put that the problem and then make it to where you can go in and have a clean reconciliation. And so that's what I've found the most helpful in working with you. And I'm going to take over the screen, and we've had a really big week. So we've had 4 days of training, of sessions. And I really like some of the words that you used, breakout. And these were good experiments. We're not even really ready to have subscribers yet. I'm watching the comments in case any come through, and I'm learning a lot on that too. But on day one,
identify if it's Heather or Samantha that's on.
Say that again.
Are you able to identify who is still there?
It's really, it just says business leaders, but then the other day, eventually, y'all can comment if you're here just to help us with the experiment. But
hey, whoever's still with us, can you let Rachel know who you are so she can tell
me? It could just be me watching, or they could still have it up and not be on anymore. Who knows? Again, I am certainly learning how this works.
We're fine.
Watching the comments there. But our day one training, we really, and every single day, Terry, you went over the gear, and that top left gear. It really takes you to a lot of different places. And really, we started off with the basics, then logos. Yes, and Samantha's still here. Thank you. We're so glad you're here, Samantha.
I hope this was helpful.
And we'll be able to use this for a lot of content. And pulling pieces out. The reconciliation you did, we'll definitely be able to pull out. Yeah, we back to what we did our first day. We touched on cash in, money in, money out, chart of accounts, and then really a lot of menus, moving, modifying. So that was just systems, linking, importing, babysitting. I think a big theme for these 4 sessions have been babysitting. We talked about matching. We really talked about matching every single time, and matching. And to touch on matching, the more you use bills, the more you use invoicing, the more you're going to match. So if you don't use invoicing and you don't use billing, there isn't going to be much matching, right?
And that's really the difference in operations.
Correct.
If you're a service and you need to track because your clients owe you money, and you need to be on top of that,
Yeah,
then you probably should have an invoicing system that's outstanding that says, hey, I sent them an invoice. Where are we with this? It's amazing when you don't have that in a system how those things get away from you.
absolutely.
And,
Absolutely. So
and
if the system is QuickBooks and a lot, and I'd say most of my clients have more than one system that
and
which,
so
yeah,
in having more than one system, if you have a practice management system, it makes sense that you do not bring that detail into QuickBooks. You really do just use QuickBooks for your cash reporting of what you received. You can still optionally track your bills. So the bills that are in that in tray that haven't been paid yet, optionally you put them in, but then you babysit to make sure that they come through the bank correctly. If you're not doing that and you're not utilizing QuickBooks, which you don't have to, but you're not utilizing QuickBooks to really manage your cash, you just kind of use the bank when you go to the bank. Do I have money or not? And here's my physical bills. Let me see how much is outstanding. I'm not saying that process doesn't work. I'm just saying that QuickBooks has the infrastructure that you can manage it through QuickBooks.
you absolutely can manage it through QuickBooks, and it requires a lot of babysitting. And I'm going to put Samantha's comment up. Thank you. Terry is very helpful, and reconciling QuickBooks is going to be a super long process, and just be patient, and really getting the previous foundation set up. Terry and Nancy have some great tricks just to really get you in a position where you can have a clean QuickBooks and reconcile and be in the habit of reconciling. So thank you, Samantha. It was good to have you. And I'll keep going. Go ahead.
I'm glad
I'm
you
sorry.
joined. And you can reach out to me. That's what I do is clean up and give you a starting point that you can go forward and focus on the stuff that's critical right now. And then you can go backwards and kind of figure out what happened if you need to.
Yeah, the cleaner, I think we've called you, and we need to. That's a good name right there. But we had a couple others. But really, that matching and the babysitting, that's it's really advanced QuickBooks matching, invoicing. Babysitting wouldn't be advanced QuickBooks, but certainly matching, invoicing, bills, those are definitely for advanced users. And so I found those very helpful again, just for the refresher. So that was our first day, and then going down the line, we talked again chart of accounts. We talked a lot about chart of accounts. We talked a lot about profit and loss and balance sheet. And what I'm really excited about our second day session was going back and the flow of how the profit and loss goes into the balance sheet. Really, I think we've set a good foundation for that particular session with how the balance sheet and profit and loss are interchangeable, and really how they work together. I've always been scared of the balance sheet, and I'm still not comfortable. And that really, I got a lot of comfort from that session. So that was the second session. Samantha, if you're still here, you are. I see you there if you're listening. But that second one, I'm going to go back and edit, but there's a lot of good information on the flow. And I'm going into our third day. Our third day training is really more banking and posting transactions. What I really loved about our third session is that I think that we really started to get our groove in of how this live works. We don't have one subscriber, and that's good right now, because I think we're really still getting a feel for this. Today, session 3, that one I really, that one I got a lot of information out of. And of course, today's session, our wrap up, and just wrapping this up. And we've got 5 hours of content now that's on YouTube. And that's what I really, again, like about these live sessions. I know this is the future of where communicating and getting information out to quality information out to the masses. But it's definitely been a learning experience. And I like what you said about the breakouts. I like the term session. Samantha, I would love any sort of what you'd like to see more of, less time, more time, things that you've liked in the past that other people have done. Because I could see us doing maybe these once a week.
I'll do them more often, but
Yeah.
huge shout out to Rachel, because none of this would have happened without her. I still can't get to my YouTube or whatever that YouTube thing is. I struggle with it. I haven't seen it. I haven't gone back to look at any of them. I know I could work my way through it to get there. The live stream that I actually do, that I say, can you send me the link? And I just link into it, and the graphics and everything else that goes with this was all Rachel, 100%. And she's done a fabulous job. So her editing is going back and taking out my uhs and oh, that wasn't supposed to happen, and that kind of thing.
Our arguments.
The arguments, yeah, we'll probably take some of those out. Some of those are okay.
They're
And
fine.
then,
I mean,
yeah, and then the other piece being the breakout sessions to really focus on some of those in more detail. It's hard looking at the clock to say, oh wow, there's so much more that I need to say about this piece, and I can't. So yeah, I will do a breakout on just some very specifics, the reconciling and the duplicates, and how to another one for the bills, how to do bill payment.
Yeah.
And so they'll kind of cross over into each other and cover more than just one area, but really focus on the area to give it some more breadth and knowledge and live experience in terms of how it should work.
Right, absolutely. So I think that it's really, again, the future, and it's right here. And YouTube is what people are watching, and our whole family is a YouTube family now. And there's YouTube TV, and Google has just taken over. And I know that gives you some concern, but
I have no issue, and I'm sure my family's a YouTube family too. I just don't. I don't know that because they do it at their house.
They do, and that's the key. We don't. And Samantha requested having some courses to help people understand what categories certain things would go under. So I think that would be like a chart of accounts course, right?
Sure. In fact, I was working with lists and chart of accounts earlier. I'm happy to do a list and chart of accounts. I'll make note of that.
That would be a good one, and I feel like we can take these sessions and keep them in 5-minute segments and break them down for sure, and really focus in on what you're saying, the categories. So that would be a good one. We can certainly put that in as a topic. I like that. Well, let's see. Right now we've gone on an hour and 16. I'm definitely going to edit the first 8 minutes. And Samantha, so appreciated. You and your husband, if that's your husband or brother or son, not your son, dad. Anyway, that can't be your dad either. That's got to be your husband. Y'all look so cute. How do you know them, Terry?
Through Judy.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, are they on your side of town?
I've never met Samantha. We've exchanged some emails, and that was it.
Awesome. Well, I love seeing smiling faces, and I was so excited to get out and about today. So it seems like I'm not now. So.
I am. So it's my time to go.
Yes, you do it. It is Friday, and I'm going to clean all this up, and really appreciative.
Very nice.
Thank you so much.
Right, Rachel, thank you, and I will talk to you soon. And thank you, Samantha.
I'm ending broadcast.
Happy to help.
Bye, all.
Bye.